Good morning, year one. Happy Thursday. I'm very excited to be teaching you about Judaism today. Remember, today we're not learning maths, we're not doing any writing, we're not doing any phonics. We're going to be all day learning about Judaism. How exciting. Now, I've got a quiz for you because I know that you learned about Judaism in reception, and that was a year ago. So I'm going to check how much you can remember. Are you ready? The quiz is not only about Judaism, it's also about Christianity. That is another religion that you learned with Miss Fernandez, Miss Benny, and Miss Bonfield last term. So let's get started. Now, I need you to get a whiteboard and a marker or a piece of paper and a pencil because you need to write down your answers. Remember the game, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Remember, we're not getting money, but we might get some points at the end. Now, get the whiteboard or paper, and remember, you can only choose one right answer. There is only one, no more than one, not two, not three, not four. It has to be only one. So remember, you get to choose A, B, C, or D. Shall we get started? Let's do it. Do not worry if you don't remember. It's all about taking part and, of course, having fun. Okay, let's do it. Now, question one, all about Christianity. Now, Christmas is a Jewish celebration, B, Hindu celebration, C, Christian celebration, or D, an Islamic celebration. Is it A, B, C, or D? Christmas is a, write it down, you've got only 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and you are correct. Christian celebration, well done. Christians celebrate Christmas in December, well done. Now moving on to the next one. Question 2, again about celebrations. Christmas is a Christian celebration that celebrates, what does it celebrate? A, the birth of Jesus Christ. B, the food grown on the land. C, the death of God. Or D, the children's freedom. What do Christians celebrate in Christmas? A, B, C, or D? Choose just one and only one. We do celebrate the birth of baby Jesus. Remember, on the 25th of December. Well done, great job. You got 2 points so far. Moving on. The next one, question 3, again about celebrations, and we're still working on Christianity. Who brought presents to baby Jesus? Who brought presents to baby Jesus? Was it A, Santa Claus and Father Christmas? Was it B, the 3 wise men? Was it C, the king and the queen? Or was it D, Angel Gabriel? Who brought some presents to baby Jesus in the stable? A, B, C, or D? You've got 5 seconds for this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is the right answer? Wise men. Well done, the 3 wise men. Well done. Great job. Now, question 4. This is going to be a bit more challenging because I think you learned about Judaism in reception, and that was a year ago. You learned about story. Let's see how much you remember. Let's check. Question 4. What did God ask Noah to build? What did God ask Noah to build? He did ask him to build something. Was it A, a palace? Was it B, a stable? Was it C, a pyramid? Or D, an ark? What was that? I remember the story. Do you? A, B, C, or D? 3, 2, 1, and the right answer is more on the R. It was on R. Well done, great job. I'm gonna say more because we've got one more question about this. Question 5, again, working in Judaism. What did Noah fill the ark with? What did Noah fill the ark with? Was it A, animals? Was it B, food? C, people? Or D, clothes? What did Noah fill the ark with? It was a really lovely story. Who remembers? A, B, C, or D. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he was small. He filled a whole ship ark with loads of animals. Well done. Great job. 1 more to go. You should have 5 points so far. 1 more. 6. Again, working on Judaism. What happened when Noah was in the ark with his family and the animals? What happened? A, God sent a flood. B, God sent a plague. C, God sent wild animals. Or D, God sent frogs. That is a very, very tricky question. Flood, plague, animals, or frogs? What is the right answer? I do remember there was a big ark in the middle of and then God sent something. I'm not helping you with this one. It was a flood. Well done, and they were very lucky that they have a boat. They had the ark to go inside, and the flood lasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Not 14, 40. 4 and a 0. That is a lot of time. Well done, everybody. Now count how many points you got. How many points have you won? Count it quickly, and you don't forget to upload your answers on Seesaw. Well done. Great job, everybody. Now let's learn now about Judaism. And everybody, you did great in the quiz. What I would like to see now is everybody getting ready for the next lesson, and I would like you to turn your listening ears on. So turn them on, everybody, and let's learn all about Judaism. Now, my topic today is celebrations. We're going to be learning about the Jewish festival, and it's one of this is one of Miss Fernandez's favorite topics. So let's get started. The Jewish festival is called Pesach. Everybody say Pesach. Pesach. It's like a at the end. Pesach. Pesach. Well done. And in English, we say Passover. And everybody pretend that you have something on your hand and you pass it over and you go Passover. And one more time, Passover. Well done, everybody. So these are the 2 words that you need to remember today. Pesach and Passover. Well done, great job. So this is the Jewish spring festival, and that is how it's called, Pesach and Passover. And it lasts for 8 days. Just like Christians celebrate Christmas for a week, and Hindus, they celebrate Holi, and they celebrate Diwali. Jewish have the special celebration as well, and it's called Pesach. And you might be wondering, why are these people around the table? Well, I would like you to think about what these people might be doing at the table. What type of food are they eating? What are they drinking? What are they reading? Why is she lighting a candle? Just answer all of these questions in your head. You don't need to say anything. Just like every celebration or festival, people get together to eat food and to have lunch together and enjoy their time together. I think these people are doing the same thing. Now, but I'm not giving you any clues just yet. Well done. Now, When Jews celebrate the Pesach, the Passover week, do you know what they do? They do clean their houses very, very thoroughly because they want guests to come to the houses. So this is a picture of some Jews cleaning their houses, getting ready for that special week for all these people to come to their house, to get together, to have some food. And they don't make simple food. They get ready for that week for months, and they prepare very delicious and special dishes, and all the family get together. And I know some people even paint their houses getting ready for that special week. So remember, the name of that celebration festival is called Pesach. Pesach. And now we're going to say it in English, Passover. And one more time, Passover. Well done, great job. Now, you might be thinking, why do Jewish people celebrate Pesach? Why do they celebrate Passover? Well, they do celebrate to remember when God used Moses to free Jewish children from slavery in Egypt. Some children in the olden days were forced to work. They weren't allowed to go to school or have fun in the playground. They had to work really, really hard. They were slaves, and they had bosses who were telling them what to do all the time. But then what happened? One day, they got to be free and they didn't have to work anymore. So that's why Jewish people celebrate the freedom that when that happened, that day happened, and the Jews are so happy and they just remember that day. So I'm going to read your story so then you know what I'm talking about, because you might be thinking, that is so confusing. How can children be slaves? Well, that doesn't happen anymore, but used to happen in the olden days. So I'm going to read your story about Moses. This is Moses and the Pharaoh. Okay, now listen up, get comfortable. Well done. Now, this is a long time ago. The cruel Pharaoh was king over Egypt. Egypt, remember, is a country where the Jewish people lived. He did not like the Jewish people, and he made them his slaves. He made them work all day, all night. The Pharaoh made the Jews work hard and build cities and pyramids for him. They were forced to work hard. The work was hard and heavy, and they had mean bosses watching them all the time, day and night. Time to reflect. Would you like to be one of those children who are not allowed to go to school? All they can do is go to work and build pyramids and build cities with no breaks, no much food. How would you feel if you were one of those children? Think in time. Pause and think about how would you feel if you were one of those Jewish children or people, even adults. Well, that would be very unfair. You wouldn't like that, because that means you won't have your freedom to do what you like the most. Well, that really happened ages ago. Let's move on. Let's see what happens next. Oh, the Pharaoh was afraid that the number of Jewish people in his country would increase. So he ordered that all the Jewish baby boys to be taken away from their families. He didn't want any baby boys in the country. One Jewish mother decided to try to save her son by putting him in a basket in the river so that a kind person might find him. That is really sad. Imagine if that is your mum. They tell your mum, well, you cannot have a baby boy. We're going to take your baby boy away. I think your mum will do the same thing. Maybe run away, maybe put you in the river in a basket. So maybe she might be thinking, maybe a nice person, a nice woman might find him and might take them. Well, that's what that mother did with his baby. Remember, that baby was a Jewish baby. And the Pharaoh didn't like Jewish people or children. Well, the Pharaoh's daughter found a baby and took him to the palace as her son. She called him Moses. No one knew that he was Jewish. Nobody knew about him. Well, the Jewish people didn't like being slaves at all. They were tired, hungry, and had no freedom. How would you feel? Now you're working really hard, you're very tired, you're also hungry, and you don't really have much food, just bread to eat. How will you feel? Think about it. Pause the video if you have to. Think about how you might be feeling inside. Sad, a bit depressed, you will think it's unfair, a bit hungry. Well, one day, when Moses, this is Moses, remember baby Moses grew up. When Moses grew up, he went out of the palace and saw Jewish slaves working very hard. He felt very sorry for them. He didn't like it, and you know what he did? He ran away. He was so scared. He couldn't believe that the Pharaoh and all of these people were doing that to the Jews. Moses ran into the desert, where he saw a bush which was on fire. It was on fire. Can you see the fire? But did not seem to be burning. He wasn't burning. From the bush came a voice of God, which told him that he was the leader of the Jewish people and that he had to go to the Pharaoh to ask him to let them go. Go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go. Set them free. That is so unfair. They shouldn't be working. Moses went to the Pharaoh and said, let my people go. Set the Jews free. Pharaoh answered, never. He refused. How would you feel? If you really want to be free, you want to have your own freedom, you want to stop working, but there is a Pharaoh, there is the boss telling you, no, never, you're always going to work for me, and forever, I will never ever let you go. How would you feel? How unfair is that? What do you think the Pharaoh is thinking in his head? Why is he making the children and the Jews work so hard? Why? Time to reflect. Think about why. That is just so mean. That will never happen here. Well done. Great thinking. I can see all children thinking in their heads, coming up with great answers. Well done, keep going. Well, Pharaoh refused. So God sent plagues to his country. Water turned to blood. Frogs and wild animals were everywhere. People and animals got very sick. Hailstones fell from the sky. Everything turned black. Would you like to live in a place like that? When there is no water, now everything is dark. When there is no sun, everything is dark, it's nighttime. Well, after each plague, Pharaoh agreed to let the Jews go, but then he changed his mind. He said, yes, I will let them go, but then he changed his mind. He's like, no, you're not going anywhere. You stay with me, you work for me. This happened 10 times. Him saying yes, and then no, yes, you can go, and then no, you cannot go, and then again, yes, you can go now, and then no, you cannot go, you need to be my slave. This happened 10 times. So in the end, the Pharaoh decided to let them go. Finally, he did let them go. That was very exciting. Think about, do you think he's going to let them go for real? Do you think they're going to be free finally? Or do you think he might change his mind? Because he did change his mind 10 times. Do you think he's going to change his mind again? 11th times? I'm not sure. What do you think? Think about it. Everybody should be thinking in their head. I do think he's not going to let them go. Let's see, let's check. Maybe something is going to happen. Maybe a miracle. Let's find out. Well, Moses told the Jewish people to prepare to leave the country very quickly because the Pharaoh agrees that they could go. Well, they baked bread for the journey, but in such a hurry that the dough did not have time to rise, so the bread was flat, just like the crackers that you have sometimes for snacks, just as flat as that. It didn't even have time to rise the dough, so they had to take the bread out of the oven and run as quick as they could. They ate roast lamb, and Moses told them to paint the blood of the lamb on the doors, so everybody in Egypt will know that there was Egypt and there was Jewish people living in those houses. So that's what they did. Then guess what happened? The Jewish people began their journey out of Egypt all the way to Israel. Pharaoh again changed his mind. How annoying. He sent his soldiers after them. They came to a big sea and thought that they were trapped. But then a miracle happened. Do you know what happened? God told Moses to stretch his hand out over the sea. The sea split in two parts so they could walk across. Can you see these people walking across? That was a miracle. You cannot really do that. A human being cannot do that. Can you just go stretch your hand over the sea, and do you think the ocean will split in two? I cannot do that. Only miracles. So that's what happened. Then, what do you think will happen to the Jews? Do you think that they're going to manage to leave Egypt and go all the way to Israel? Let's find out. The waters closed after them to stop the Egyptians. They were free, happy, excited. So they danced and celebrated their freedom in Israel. They did manage. How would you feel if that happens to you after all of these years working really hard, building cities, carrying really heavy stones, and then one day you're set free? You can go, you have your freedom, you can be a child again. You don't have to work anymore. How will you feel? Think about how would you celebrate that? Why would you do that? Would you throw a party? Would you make a cake? Would you invite people over to your house? How would you celebrate that? Thinking time. Well, I think I can hear fantastic ideas. Well done. Having a party, food, cleaning your house, getting ready for having people over. Well done, well done. Having a play date. Great ideas. Well done, everybody. Well, I'm going to tell you what the Jewish people do to celebrate and to remember those days. Now, well, in here, you've got a plate in the middle. Can you see that? So this story that I just read, this event, happened many years ago. So Jewish people all over the world remember the miracle of freedom with a special Passover meal. So that is a plate, and that is the Passover meal. So I'm going to be talking about all the food that you can find in there. But before we do that, I would like you to think about, if you have to celebrate something, who would you invite to your celebration, to your festival? Who would you invite? Would that be just your mom and your dad? Will it be all your family? Your grandparents, your cousins? Who will be invited? Well done, great job. Now, this is the family, cousins, uncles, everybody is got together to celebrate Pesach, the Passover meal. Now, this plate in the middle has a name. This plate is called the Seder plate. Everybody say Seder plate, and again Seder plate. It's like a me place, Seder plate, and one more time, Seder plate. Well done. This Seder plate has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of food, and each food reminds the Jewish of the story. Each type of food, each element that you can see on this plate has a meaning. So I'm gonna be teaching you all about the meaning of each food. Now, this is the plate. First type of food is the karpas. Everybody say karpas. Karpas. Well done. And that is a root vegetable, and usually is celery or parsley or potatoes, sometimes onions, and this is dipped in salt water and is eaten during the Seder plate, during the Seder meal. This reminds the Jews of all the tears wept by the Jewish slaves in Egypt. Remember, they had really bitter times in there and they cried a lot. Remember, they were really cold, they didn't have much food, so they eat these type of festivals to remind them of the bitterness and the salty, those times in Egypt when they were little and they didn't really have much and they didn't have freedom. So that is one of the food. Then we've got matzah. Everybody say matzah. That is the flat bread that looks a bit like crackers. That's the flat bread that Jews eat. And remember, they have flat breads because remember when they left Egypt, they were in such a hurry that they didn't have enough time for the bread to rise. So that's why the bread looks a bit different to the bread that we eat now. So that is a really good way of remembering the times of them rushing, getting all the food ready to live. So that is why they have this flat bread. So we've got so far karpas and matzah. Then we've got zeroa. Everybody say zeroa. Zeroa. So that is a shank bone, and it's a lamb bone, and it was all, remember, it was eaten before they left Egypt. Remember, I told you they were painting blood on the door of the Jewish houses. So they also eat that to remember those times when they had lamb before they left Egypt in such a hurry. So we've got so far karpas, matzah, and shank bone, zeroa. Don't worry about the names, you don't need to learn the tricky names, but that is for you to know. Then they have is a charoset, but I have learned that Jewish in Hebrew, the sound ch, it sounds like a j. So we say jaroset, jaroset. And it's a paste of raisins and nuts and apple and wine. And this is, for the Jews, this paste, this dough, it reminds the Jews of the cement. Remember, this is sticky dough that the children and the Jewish people used to use to make houses and to make cities and to build the pyramids. Remember, that's the cement, that's the glue that they used to glue all the bricks together so they could build things together. So that is the paste that they eat, and they remember those days as well. It looks a bit sticky, the texture reminds them of the cement. It's a dough, it's sticky, it's I don't know how to describe it because I haven't tried, but it looks to me a bit like a dough, sticky dough, that it will remind them of sticking bricks together. Then we've got, after jaroset, we've got one more, and they eat just the rest. But remember, they don't say ch, they say j. So they say jasaret, jasaret. Okay, so that's the letters it also had when they said the plate, and there's 2 more to go. Then they also had maror, and the maror are the bitter herbs as well. They use celery or ginger, and they eat that to remind them of the bitter days of the Egyptian slavery. Remember, till there were slaves and they had really bad times, sad times, better times. So that's why they eat this kind of food as well, to remind them of those times. And last but not least, they eat eggs, and they call that Pesach. Pesach. These eggs, it reminds them of the spring and the cycle of life. Remember, they have this festival in spring, and it's a really important season for Jewish people, spring, because then is when they remember that they were set for free. So these are all the foods that Jewish people add to the Seder plate when they celebrate the Passover, the Pesach festival. Okay, now I'm going to be asking you loads of questions because I've got my Seder plate. Don't you worry if you don't remember what each food represents, because I'm going to be here to help you. Okay. Okay, so I have created my own Seder plate, and I have added some of the elements that Jewish people had as well in the festival. Now I want to start with the first one with carpus. And who remembers why Jewish people have roast vegetables? What does this remind them of? Remember, it could be celery or parsley. I have chosen parsley for my plate. Use potato, onion. What did they dip this food into? Remember, it was in what? And salt. Well done. And this reminds them of the tears. Well done, the tears that were wept by Jewish slaves in Egypt. Well, that is the parsley. That's the root vegetables. And they said karpas. Remember? Then I've got the flat bread. What happened to the bread? Why does this bread look flat? Obviously, children, I have chosen crackers because I don't have the bread that Jews eat. Why do you think that flat is bread? Who remembers what happened when they were in such a hurry when they left Egypt? Well done, you're right. The bread didn't have time to rise. They put it in the oven but they had to take it out really quickly because they had to leave. Well done. So we've got so far karpas, matzah, that was the bread, and then we've got the shank bone, zeroah. Remember, that reminds them of the lamb that they ate. When did they eat lamb? Well done as well, the day before they left Egypt. Well done. And remember, they were doing something on the doors. There was some painting. Who remembers the color? What did they use for that? Well done. It was red, like a red paint. It was like the blood of the lamb. Well done. Now we've got number 4, charozet. Now remember, the Jewish says jarozet, jarozet. So this is a dough paste of raisins and nuts and apple and wine. So this is the jarozet that Miss Fernandez has made. And remember, what does this dough, what does this paste remind the Jews of? What does it remind them of? Well done! It was the cement. Remember that sticky dough that they used to build pyramids? Do you know that cement is the dough that builders used to stick bricks together and build houses? Well done. We've done jarozet. Then we've got number 5, jarozet. That is the lettuce. Jarozet that they had. And then number 6 is the egg. Remember, Betza. Remember, that reminds them of the cycle of life and the spring. Remember, spring is really important for Jews. So the circle of life and the spring for Jews. Now, I hope you enjoy looking at my plate. I've got an independent activity for you, and you can choose what you would like to do. Okay, children, for the independent work, you can choose what you would like to do. I'm going to give you 3 different options. The first one, you can cut and match up foods. I'm going to give you some pictures to the parts of the plate. So I'm going to give you some pictures of food, and you can match them to the plate. And then you will match the reasons why the Jewish people eat those food. What does they remind them of? Then you can choose, you can do what Miss Fernandez have just done. You can make your own Seder plate using real food, and you might record yourself describing the meaning of each food. You don't have to do all of them, but maybe 1 or 2 or 3. And then number 3, you can draw the fruit, label and write. You get to choose. So I'm going to show you how you can do each of these steps. You can do 1, don't do all of them, just 1, choose 1. Okay, so for your independent work, you will have these pictures and the reasons why the Jews chose this type of food for their Seder plate. So all you can do, you can cut the food. I'm going to cut it very quickly. You can cut the food. Then glue it on the plate, and then you need to find the reason why the Jews will choose the egg. So then I'm gonna find where does it say egg, and why was the egg very important for the Jews? I know, it's because it reminds them of spring and the circle of life. So I'm gonna cut that one. I'm going to cut that one on the line, and then I'm going to glue it next to it. I'm going to carry on doing that for all of them. And I'm going to read it, Pesach, eggs for spring and the circle of life. Then if you don't really want to do that one, you can do activity number 2. Activity number 2 is when you have your own plate at home, you use the real food, and you record yourself explaining what each food means for the Jews. Okay, I will say, okay, for this one, I know I've got an egg, and I know the egg for the Jews is very important because it represents the spring and the circle of life. Then after I finish that, I'm going to record myself, and then I'm going to upload it on CISO. So I would like you to do the same as well for me. If you choose activity 2. If you don't really want to do activity number 2, you can draw the food on the plate. So I'm going to choose, maybe I'm going to draw the egg again. So I'm going to draw 1 egg, a boiled egg, but then I need to write down. So I'm going to draw some lines here on the side, next to it, 1 line, another line, another line, another line, and then I'm going to write what the eggs represent for the Jews. And I know the egg is for the spring. 4 represents the spring, and the circle of life. Remember, you got to choose 1, cutting and sticking and matching the pictures. 2, have your own real food, your own Seder plate. And 3, drawing and writing. You get to choose what you would like to do for this activity. Off you go, and do not forget to upload and see. So I would love to see your Seder plate. I'm very excited. Well done. Well done. You've done really well, and I cannot wait to see your work on CISO. So well done, great job. Now, I would like you to think about and reflect on your work. What lessons have we learned from the Passover story? It says, do children have freedom in the United Kingdom? Are they forced to work hard? Are you forced to work hard? Are you forced to build cities? Are you forced to go to work every day without getting money or getting paid for it? Think about it. Well done. You've got freedom. You get to be a child. You're not forced to work. You're just kind of forced to learn, because that will help you in your future. But we don't make you work hard. We don't make you build cities. We don't make you go hungry, do we? No. Well done. If you were one of those children slaves, what food would you choose to celebrate your freedom? If one day they say you can be free now, you don't need to work hard, what meal would you choose to celebrate your freedom? Did I hear pizza, burger, pasta, chocolate, a cake? I will celebrate my freedom with a cake as well, a chocolate cake. Well done. Do you think the Pharaoh have the right to force children to work for him? Do you think he has the right to do that? No, they were only children and they were only people that wanted to be free. Well done, you're right. That was so unfair. This person didn't have the right to do what he did to them. What more? What does the spring mean for Jewish people? Why is the spring such a great season for them? What does the spring remind them of? Well done. Is when they were finally allowed to be free. Well done, and they could escape from Egypt. That's what the spring means to them. That's why the Passover meal, the festival, the Pesach, is celebrated in the spring. And this story, children, of Passover teaches you the value of freedom. So if anyone in the United Kingdom asks you or force you to do things, you can't say no, because that is your freedom. You shouldn't be forced to work when you're a child. And then it reminds that people like the Pharaoh should never impose their will or beliefs on others. They should never force you to do this. And of course, in certain difficult times, it reminds us that spring will always come again, which means the people that were very upset and very sad and didn't have any freedom, finally God did miracles, and that's why they were set free. So well done, you did a great job today. So now I'm going to say bye and carry on with your day, because I think we'll be full of learning. Okay, well done everybody, great job.